Ladies, gents, good morning from Europe. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My 11th Monday morning in Europe and a little bit more than 12 hours left to the Bitcoin halving, meaning that we are going to discuss crypto market. We are going to make crypto update. So Bitcoin, Ether, let's start. Let's have a look what we have. All right, so we've seen a little bit pump and dump even before the halving, still 12 hours 44 minutes. What is the halving? It's during the mining process, every block is being closed every 10 minutes more or less, 12.5 Bitcoin for the miners, and within the next 12 hours 44 minutes it's going down to 625. So that's the countdown, right? One more thing very important before we will go and jump to the chart is comparison to where we were after the previous halving, right? And as you can see, there was a dump before the halving, very similar to what we have right now. All right, and then was even more downside. All right, and then eventually rally. So that's what we are going to discuss based on the previous halving. So let's finally have a look what we have on the chart. All right, that's the monthly chart, right? And if you remember some time ago, we drew the line based on the monthly chart, and guess what? The rejection took place right at the line. That's the thing number one. Of course, the latest rally been related to this halving event, right? No doubt about it. There was also information from the legendary Tudor Jones. There was information he was the Bitcoin buyer. Now I couldn't find average entry, right? So not necessarily he was buying lately, right? The latest buy from the street towards 10,000, right, been quickly rejected. So the smart money, all those hot money, reject the Bitcoin. There was a retest of the supply at 10,000, 10,500. That's what we discussed. Let's have a look. How does it look? Let's have a look what we have when it comes to the weekly chart, right? So that was the supply we were discussing between 10,000 and 10,500 over here, right? And well, that's how it was rejected very strongly, especially with the move below 9,000. We quickly reached 8,000. So for now, where we found the support? For now, we found the support around the 8,000 plus minus 8,200, 8,500, right? The latest here, the demand, right? So post break retest right here, right now on the weekly chart. All right. So theoretically, the question is if we are going to be able to hold this zone. I think it might be a big challenge. Why? Because we, as a bulls, with this rally, to be honest with you, we didn't clean that supply, meaning it's still active. So I think that this consolidation over here might be tested. So what we are talking about? We are talking about again on a retest of yearly open somewhere in between, in my opinion, 7,500, 7,000 is possible. Why I think is it possible? So as you've seen second ago, what happened post previous halving, right? So let's switch to the daily chart. Let's have a look what we have here, okay? Now, the important thing here is, as I mentioned, the break of 9,000, 9,200. If you watched last two educational videos where I'm discussing the powerful candle and what might happen if the powerful candle is broken, right? That's what we have here. Powerful candle, upside, and broken to the downside, right? So right now, 9,000, 9,200 over here, that's the huge monster supply, right? And the chart I've shown you second ago, showing what happened post halving, it was like almost 1-to-1. So if we are going to make 1-to-1 this time as well, from 9,000, 9,200, right? Yearly open 7,250 could be in play. So that's why I'm trying to make it a little bit wider, and I'm talking about the 7,000, 7,500. It's also the mid of that range pre-break to the upside. All right, so that's how I see the things. So short term, as long as we are below 9,000, 9,200, I see more downside towards 7,500, 7,000. Bulls are need to get back above 9,200. So bulls need to eventually, to avoid the situation that we are falling down to 7,500, we have to take out that supply and hold at least, based on the daily close, 2 consecutive days above that level. Then we can try to attack 10,000, 10,500 again, right? So that's how I see the things when it comes to Bitcoin, a short-term bearish. So meaning that if we are going to switch to the Ether, it's gonna be, unfortunately, it's gonna be similar. And we were discussing that lately, Ether, it wasn't that great. Anyway, here we got back below 200, right? So overall, right now, we are testing this weakness. 180, 175. That's what we are holding for now, right? But in case of the further move to the downside when it comes to the Bitcoin, right, I think that here we might see this type of the move to the downside as well, meaning that levels close to 165, as you can see here, we are going to switch to the daily, might be tested. All right, so somewhere another 10% here. So let's have a look, how does it look on the daily. Okay, so on the daily chart, the nice trend line being broken, retest, attempt to continuation to the downside, right? So where is the downside possible on the daily is also clearly here, again 165. I would say psychological 150, taking into the consideration similarity we have here. So between 165, 150 on the Ether as long, as we are below 195, 200 on a daily close, right? So in case we are going to get back above this trend line, we might see a little bit higher levels when it comes to the Ether. Okay, so that's how I see the things 12 hours ahead of the halving on the Bitcoin. A little bit, well, not 10%. For some might be a little bit, for some might be a fortune, but more or less 10-15% more downside within next few days is possible, based on what we discussed and in comparison what happened around the previous halving. Guys, don't be trapped. Be careful. Do your own research. It was my pleasure to prepare this update for you. See you around, guys. Thank you, take care, and goodbye.